Have you ever noticed how small oil pastels, such as the size of the Pentel standards, always seem to be lacking something? Now, is there a reason for that? Today we're going to have a look at these Artecho oil pastels. They're fairly new, they've been on this market a while, but we're going to have a good look at them. Now, I have found that generally smaller, thinner oil pastels, those that are under 10mm or 11mm, are generally harder. They don't layer so well, they don't blend so well, and you kind of get to the point where you think, what is the point of these? Is there any point of these? Now, you have to ask yourself, well, what are they aimed at? Now, I personally think, and I could be wrong, but I personally think that generally most of those oil pastels are aimed towards children because they make them smaller so they're easier to handle. That's just my opinion. I mean, they're about the size of a crayon, aren't they? And with this new set here that I'm going to look at today, it does actually say Junior on the label, on the box. However, saying that, the newer boxes of these, as far as I can see, because I've only got these ones with Junior, don't actually have Junior written on them. So let's have a look at them, see if they're any good, and see if they're better for us to use for perhaps detailing or smaller pictures for oil pastels. Let's see if they're better than all the others. The ones I can think of are Pentel, Classico. I have some. They weren't as good as I thought they would be, but I've got to review them yet. And there's a few others around about that size. So look at the box. 75 colours. Well, already there's a disadvantage there because there's only 75 colours. Whereas in the new Artecho boxes, you get 120. It is a bit better than their 60 box, though, having said that. And it says oil-based, non-toxic, vibrant colours, smooth texture, easy blending and shading. The one thing it has missed out is that it does have that good light fastness, which it mentions on the larger oil pastels. So with that saying Junior and not mentioning the light fastness on the front of the box, I don't know if it does on the back, then you have to ask yourself, are these inferior to the normal oil pastels that they have? I'm going to presume this is a picture that they've done with them, which is quite nice. And it says 8mm by 60mm. So it's 8mm across and 60mm long. Let's have a look on the other side of the box. So on the other side of the box, it basically says all the same sort of stuff again. It does say ideal for illustration, stenciling, scratching, colour mixing and blending, impastos and dotting. Well, pretty much the same as any other oil pastel, really, isn't it? It does give you a colour chart. It gives you no indication of any numbers for the colours or any light fastness ratings or anything like that. And that really is all there is to be said on the back. It says you can use them on paper, cardboard, canvas, wood, all the normal things. So let's have a look inside the box. It's a pretty flimsy box. It's a sliding drawer. That goes for cheapness again. These weren't that cheap. These are equally as expensive as the normal Artechos. They are cheap in themselves, and these are probably more expensive to some degree because they're smaller and you don't get so many colours and the box isn't so good. So that's not really a great start, but they have this slidey drawer, and inside you have the plastic trays and all the colours. Now the colour range is not bad, I suppose. It could be better. There's a lot of greens. I quite like the vast selection of greens going into blues. Not such a big selection of blues or purples. Would have been nice to see some better blues. There's quite a few nice colours in here. That's quite a nice colour. And there's a few greys and a silver and a gold. So again, it's erring towards children. But is that really the case? On the actual pastel, it says nothing. And in all honesty, at this point of time, I'm thinking to myself, are these really worth the money? And at this present moment in time, I'm going to say no. I wouldn't bother. But let's have a look at the blending. See if they're any good for blending. See if they're any good for layering. Let's have a look, shall we? I'm going to do it in this little space here. There's no need to take up a lot of space, is there? So, but there's some really very nice colours in here. I mean, these pinks are quite nice. Look at this one. It's a really nice colour that you could use for portraits. As is this one. They're kind of nuanced to some degree. This nice green, that's a lovely green, and a few blues, grey blues here. I just wish they'd give you a name for the colours. Oh, they do on the back. They do give you a name on the back, but it'd be nice to see it on the actual pastel as well, wouldn't it? But there's some quite nice greys in here. Warm greys, cool greys. There's a black, dark sepia, I should think that one is. Yes, it is sepia. Going into Van Dyke brown, into your just normal browns. There's a nice nuanced colour again. It's called chocolate and tortilla. And these are quite nice. This one's really nice. I do like this one really quite a lot, and it's erring on the side of purple, which is odd for me. Anyway, let's have a look and see what these can do, shall we? What do they feel like? Well, they feel really quite nice. They feel as nice as the larger Artechos. There's a bit of patchiness there. I'm not going to say it's any different or any better to the other Artechos. At this moment in time, I can't really tell, but they're quite soft, which is nice. Let's go for this colour. Yeah, they're quite soft and seem to be layering really quite nicely. The purple was a bit patchy. This blue, not so much. That's actually really quite nice. They do feel a little bit cheaper, perhaps. I'm not going to say anything major because I wouldn't say it is anything major. Let's go for this green. You see, the colours are actually quite different, aren't they? That's a really nice green grey there. There's something definitely different. I wouldn't say lacking so much, but let's see how they blend. Yeah, blending quite nice. In fact, very nice, I'd say. There's a really nice blend going on there. Let's zoom you in. Yeah, that's a really nice blend, isn't it? I mean, you're going to have to take into account that possibly I'd be using a better paper than this anyway, because this is the Pentel paper. I've got so much of it, I might as well just use it up for this blend and demonstrations. But they are actually blending really nice. Almost blending like a soft pastel to some degree. Really nice. Yeah, not bad. There is some transparency, some slight blotchiness to them, but I think on a different paper you'd probably lose that. So let's see if they pill. No, there's no pilling, so that's quite good. Yeah, I mean, as usual, I'm overblending just to see what happens. And they do get blotchy once you overblend. There's something lacking with them. I think it might just be the opaqueness. Let's see if the white blends over. Oh, the white goes over an absolute treat. Actually, that's one of the best whites I think I've ever seen. That really is nice. So let's see if we can put a red over the top, shall we? They blend, or layer, a treat. There's definitely some transparency about these ones though. And I have to say that I think that these are going to go over other oil pastels quite nicely. Shall we have a look and see if it goes over here, shall we? Let's choose a light colour. Yeah, it's going over the top. Let's choose the white. Oh, the white goes. That white is absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look at the gold colour while we're here, shall we? That's a nice gold. Wow. Not one for using the gold and the silvers and things like that, but that one really is quite spectacular. It's really shining. That's nice. Wow. Now, I'm going to say this. If I had to choose a small oil pastel to use to do a smaller picture with or to do details with, it would be these. These are far, far superior to the Pentels. They are far superior to any other small oil pastels I've used. They are definitely a lot softer. And the only thing that is lacking for me is the opaqueness, I think. It doesn't feel like they're quite as opaque. Having said that, they do feel quite good. And I would definitely use these for a good picture. And I feel I'd get something quite good with them, actually. I can't say that I'm mega impressed with the colour range. I do feel there's quite a good set of yellows going on here. You don't usually see a massive amount of yellows in oil pastels for some reason. I don't know what that's all about. And, you know, the purple range is just what it should be. So, but the greens are really very good. So what you've got to decide for yourself is, are you prepared to spend that amount of money? These, I believe, were around about £16 for this set, which in comparison to what you'd normally get from Artecho seems to be quite expensive. I mean, you're getting half the amount of oil pastel, aren't you? And you're getting half the amount of colours, but you're paying nearly the same price. And, you know, I'm not sure about that. However, I would say that these are going to be really, really good for details. I do feel there is a definite place for these, and they're Artecho. Artecho are good. Let's be honest. I mean, they're not nowhere near the best, but they are very good, and I would always recommend starting with Artecho oil pastels for any oil pastel artist. So I hope you like them oil pastels, and yeah, I'd buy them. I would definitely buy them, and I would definitely be using these in my art when and if I need to. I would recommend these to a point. If you're looking for thoroughly professional oil pastels, these really probably aren't quite where you need to be. They're just a little bit below that. So give it a point score out of 10 of about, I don't know, probably a 7 or 8 maybe. So they're decent, but they're not the best. But they're way, way beyond the worst. So anyway, that's another video done and another review done. I've still got loads of oil pastels to review. Please don't forget to subscribe, and please don't forget to like and share wherever you can. I'd like to welcome my new member, David Cornwell. Thank you, David, for joining. I really do appreciate that. And I'd like to say hello to my other members, which are Judith Sopher, Avril, Angie Shower, Sue Wright, Annie Stone, and Joy. Please have a great day. Please have a great week and a great year, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.